Okay, let's dive in. We're talking speed, high-tech stuff, maybe a bit of glamour too. The Miami Grand Prix, it's really blowing up, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It
Yeah.
feels like it's almost giving Monaco a run for its money these days in terms of buzz.
Right. It's becoming this huge moment in the F1 calendar.
And, whenever you have that kind of spotlight, the watch brands are right there. They're smart about using these events, especially team sponsorships.
Yeah, you often see these really colorful, sometimes kind of wild special editions pop up.
Exactly. Which leads us to Tudor and their partnership with the Visa Cash App Racing Bulls Formula One team. It's their second year together now.
And we've seen Tudor do this before, link watches to partnerships or that whole daring watches idea they have. I'm thinking like the ceramic blue, the pink chrono.
The Flamingo Blue, yeah. They definitely aren't afraid to play with themes and color.
So it kind of makes sense that this partnership is giving us something new, right? Something specifically for the next F1 season, apparently.
Precisely. And that's what we're digging into today.
Right. So based on the info we've got, this deep dive is all about a new F1-inspired watch for the 2025 season. It's a chronograph. It's called the Black Bay Chrono Carbon 25.
Yep.
And we're going to unpack the details from the source material. Just pull out the key things you need to know.
Okay, let's do it. So first things first, the materials. The name kind of gives it away. Carbon 25.
Carbon fiber, yeah. It's obviously a Black Bay Chrono tied to the F1 team using carbon. But the source says it's, well, more than just a bit of carbon trim.
Oh, definitely. The material points out that the actual case itself is pretty much entirely carbon fiber, which is quite a
Of the
commitment.
case.
The whole case. And the end links, too. The bits connecting the strap gives it a very integrated look. And even the fixed bezel, the one with the tachymeter scale, that's carbon fiber as well.
Wow, okay, so they're really embracing that lightweight F1 tech feel. But it's not all carbon, is it? The source mentions other metals.
Right, good point. For the pushers and the case back, which is engraved, by the way, they've used PVD-coated titanium.
Yep.
And the crown is PVD-coated steel.
And the source notes these are screw-down components, crown and pushers.
Well, the crown and pushers being screwed down usually helps with water resistance, and the source does confirm the water resistance rating.
Yeah, but
It's solid 200 meters.
Oh.
And you've got a domed sapphire crystal on top, which is, super tough against scratches.
Good, good. Now, size-wise, how does it wear? The source mentions the diameter.
Yeah, it's listed at 42 millimeters, so pretty much standard size for the Black Bay Chrono models. No surprises there.
Okay.
But here's a little detail the source calls out, which I thought was interesting. This carbon version. It's actually listed as slightly thinner,
Thinner, really? How much?
just a fraction. It's at 14.3 millimeters thick, whereas the steel ones are usually put at 14.4 millimeters. It's tiny, I know, but it's in there. Maybe the carbon allows for that slight difference, or maybe it's just something they wanted to highlight.
Huh. That is subtle, but yeah, interesting they noted it. Okay, let's talk about the dial, the face of the watch. The source is clear about the inspiration here, right?
Absolutely. It says it's directly inspired by the 2025 season livery, the paint job of the Visa Cash App Racing Bulls cars.
So what does that look like translated onto a watch dial?
Well, you've got a white opaline dial as the base, kind of clean, a bit shimmery. Then there are these quite strong blue accents on the logos, and the seconds track around the edge.
Ah.
And a neat touch, the subdials, the chronograph counters,
Mm-hmm.
they're actually made of carbon fiber too, so it brings that case material onto the dial itself.
Ah, nice touch.
Plus, you've got a black date disc, so it blends in, and the little pop of red for the depth rating text.
And the hands and markers, are they still classic Black Bay?
Oh yeah, definitely. You get the standard Black Bay design elements, including the signature snowflake hands. They're outlined in black, which should make them stand out against the white dial. And they're filled with white superluminova for reading it in the dark.
Now, the source also mentions something called a racing scale on the edge of the dial, and it adds this little comment. Not the most streamlined edition, but a daring one for sure. What do you think they mean by that?
I think it's maybe Tudor acknowledging that, look, this isn't a subtle watch. You've got the white, the blue, the red, the carbon texture on the subdials, plus this extra scale. It probably adds up to a pretty busy look.
Right.
But daring feels right.
Mm-hmm.
If it's the F1 connection, if it's Tudor pushing the boundaries a bit lately with these more colorful or themed watches, it's not trying to be a classic minimalist chrono. It's embracing the F1 look.
Makes sense. And the strap helps complete that look, I imagine. The source described it as a hybrid.
Yeah, exactly. It's a mix of leather on the outside and rubber on the inside. Comes with blue stitching that matches the dial accents.
Practical.
And it's got the sort of tire tread pattern molded into it,
Mm-hmm.
which is a fun little detail. Closes with a regular pin buckle.
So you get maybe the smarter look of leather, but the comfort and sweat resistance of rubber underneath. Good for, actually being at a potentially hot race like Miami.
Yeah.
Okay, engine time. What's powering this thing? The movement.
It's running the caliber MT5813. The source confirms it's automatic, obviously, and it's a COSC certified chronograph.
TOSC certified. Okay. So chronometer grade accuracy.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And the architecture, the base design, it comes from the Breitling B01 movement. That's part of their ongoing collaboration.
Right, the movement sharing deal. So what are the key specs? What makes the MT5813 tick?
Well, the source lists the important stuff. It's got a column wheel for the chronograph mechanism enthusiasts usually like that. Feels smoother. It beats at 4 hertz or 28,800 vibrations per hour, which is standard for good accuracy, and a smooth chrono sweep.
And power reserve.
About 70 hours, which is pretty decent. Means you can take it off Friday evening and it should still be running come Monday morning.
That's useful. Now, does Tudor modify it? The source mentions some things exclusive to their version.
It does. It highlights a silicon balanced spring that's great for resisting magnetism and temperature changes, helps keep the timing stable. And it also has a variable inertia balance, which is a more advanced way to regulate the watch for precision.
Okay, so some nice technical upgrades there. And putting all that together, the source mentions a specific accuracy standard Tudor aims for after the watch is fully assembled.
Yeah, it says Tudor regulates them to run within -2 to +4 seconds per day.
How does that stack up?
That's actually tighter than the basic COSC standard, which allows -4 to +6 just for the movement itself. So -2 +4 for the whole watch on your wrist is, well, it's really good. It matches Tudor's usual high standard.
Right. Now, here's something potentially big. Unlike a lot of Tudor watches, this one, the reference 79377KN, the source says it's limited.
Yes, that's a really key point here.
Yeah.
This isn't part of the regular ongoing collection. It's a limited production run.
And it specifies they're individually numbered on the case.
Individually numbered, yes.
So how limited is limited? Do we know the number?
We do. The source states exactly 2,025 examples will be made.
2025. A nod to the F1 season it's tied to. Clever.
Makes sense, yeah.
Okay, and the all-important question, the price. What's the damage for this limited carbon F1 chrono, according to the source?
Price listed is 7,400 euros.
7,400 euros.
Okay.
So let's kind of wrap up what we've pulled from the material for you. It seems that Tudor Black Bay Chrono Carbon 25 is defined by a few key things.
Definitely. You've got that really extensive use of carbon fiber for the case, the bezel, even the end links. That's a major feature.
Then there's the very specific dial design, directly drawing from that F1 team livery, the white, the blue, the carbon subdials. It's bold.
Inside, you have that proven high-spec chrono movement, the MT5813, with Tudor's own enhancements like the silicon spring, and regulated to a tight accuracy standard.
And critically, it's a limited edition, only 2,025 pieces, individually numbered. That changes the game a bit compared to standard Tudors.
So yeah, this deep dive, based purely on the source material, gives you a pretty clear picture of what this watch is all about. Its materials, its specific F1 connection where it fits in Tudor strategy, and the technical and design choices that really make it, well, unique.
We've really unpacked the details of this Tudor Black Bay Chrono Carbon 25.
Hope that gives you a good overview. Thanks for joining us.
And maybe leave you with this thought, something to chew on based on what we've discussed. When you see a watch like this using specialized materials like carbon, having such a direct, almost niche tie-in to an F1 team's look, being strictly limited in number, and landing at that specific price point, what does that combination tell you about how brands are trying to connect with? How do they build that kind of desire that goes beyond just telling the time?